Why you dead? And welcome back to the Dark Souls playthrough. The last we met, we had just killed Darksun Gwendolyn, and in between these two videos I did a little bit of farming, but here we're going to place the Lord Vessel by talking to this big, ugly motherfucker.
Fine. Well, wide awake. Do not treat me like an old withering snake. Ah, hello. Was it you who rang the bell of awakening? I am the primordial serpent, Kingseeker Frampt, close friend of the great Lord Gwyn, chosen undead, who has rung the bell of awakening. I wish to elucidate your fate, and the very reason your kind have appeared. Chosen undead, your fate is to succeed the great Lord Gwyn, so that you may link the fire, cast away the dark, and undo the curse of the undead. Now, let us take that vessel on a journey. I assume that you are ready. Now, be still.
So that was kind of one of the first moments where we're going to get a glimpse of what the story's actually about. We rang the bells of awakening to, I don't know, prove that we're the chosen undead, I guess. Then we get the Lord Vessel and we place it here, showing that we're going to succeed Great Lord Gwyn, who's the final boss of the game, and break the curse of the undead, supposedly.
This is the firelink chamber for the successor of Lord Gwyn. Now, place the Lord Vessel on the altar.
Now, how in the hell was I carrying that big-ass Lord Vessel with all the other armor that I got? Suspension of belief. These golden doors are scattered throughout the world, and they basically prevent you, before this point, from getting to some of the final bosses in the game. It's essentially, we have to go after 4 final bosses now, along with some extra optional ones, and then we can take on Gwyn, Lord Gwyn.
Very well. As Kingseeker, I shall now instruct you, the Lord's successor, in your next task. To achieve your fate, fill the vessel with powerful souls, commensurate to the great soul of Gwyn. Scarce few possess such brilliant souls. Grave Lord Nito, the Witch of Izalith, the 4 kings of New Londo, who inherited the shards of Gwyn's soul, and Lord Gwyn's former confidant, Seath the Scaleless. All of their souls are required to satiate the Lord Vessel. Are you ready? Then we shall return. Stay still for a moment.
So the first of the 4 bosses we're going to go after is Seath the Scaleless, and he's in the Duke's Archives, which is connected to Anor Londo. And the reason that we're going to go after him, because I would normally go after this one last because the zone is just really annoying, but we're going to go after him because that's where Big Hat Logan currently is captured, and we want to get the most powerful spells in the game, so we got to go rescue his ass, buy all of his spells, and then he goes a little crazy, and then we kill him to get his big-ass hat, powerful catalyst, and another spell in the game. So we're going to head to Duke's Archives now.
I am pleased. Is it so?
You can feed Titanite chunks to this guy, and they will convert it to a lesser Titanite chunk. And you can see I'm doing some of those there. A red became a green became, what was that, just a regular Titanite chunk. And then you can also feed him items. These gold coins and the silver coins, which we got in Anor Londo, give a lot of souls. But you can also feed him just any piece of gear for a specified amount of souls.
Farewell.
So if you have a bunch of crap that you don't want anymore, or you pick up a bunch of short swords, for instance, you can feed it all to him, and he'll give you souls for
So
him.
you made it out. Yeah, I made it out safely too. I have my pyromancy of the Great Swarm, so I can use the magic with a bit of care. Oh yeah, by the way, I can share my spells with you. I think you have a knack for it. All you need are the materials. I'd be pleased to help you. Unless you find the magic's unsavory. Yeah, wonderful. I'm sure that they'll be of some use, some assistance. Here, first take this. A flame from the Great Swamp. Now you're a fully fledged pyromancer. Why, let's get started right now.
This is the guy that we rescued down in the depths, and you can talk to him at any time before this, and he gives you a pyromancy glove, which lets you start casting pyromancy spells. What's neat again about pyromancy is that the spells don't scale in damage based off of your intellect. They scale off of the glove. So you go to other pyromancers and you pay a bunch of souls to upgrade the glove, and any character can then really use pyromancy. So if you wanted to make a knight or a rogue and you wanted some additional utility, you could max out that pyromancy glove, which in the end is going to cost you something like 200,000 souls or so to get it fully upgraded, which is a lot. But the pyromancy spells at that point really hit pretty hard. And so now we're at the first bonfire in Anor Londo, and we are going to head to the left. And previously, if we would have continued this way, there would have been one of those large golden doors that would have blocked our way from going into the Duke's archives. But that's now since been removed. Also, since this is dark Anor Londo, you see the big giant guards are now missing. We will run into a couple enemies on the way to the first bonfire in the Duke's archive. You remember when we were in the Undead Parish, we ran into a giant boar that we tried to use the alluring stone on to get him to run into the fire, and it didn't really work, so we threw fire bombs on him. Well, now we're going to run into a couple of them here in the hallways that are a bit harder to take down because it's such a narrow passageway. Now, for the sorcerer, it may not be such a pain in the butt. I don't remember exactly, but I know for melee characters, these guys could be a huge bitch. The trick is to obviously dodge them, and they deal a lot of damage, and you see my spells aren't really hurting it that bad. I would imagine that pyromancy hits it pretty hard. Oh, there's Soul Spear, got it. That doesn't make it any easier, though. You've got to dodge them. And there's one more around the corner, but I've kind of used all my soul spears, though, so it's going to be a little bit trickier this time. Luckily, these guys don't respawn, so you don't have to worry about that. Yep, that's going to be trouble with slow casting great heavy soul arrows. Dead like a bitch, haven't even entered the zone yet. quite a bit easier when you actually have some soul spears to shoot at them. So those are the only two enemies stopping us from getting to the first bonfire, which is just around the corner here. That was the Fang Boar helmet, which has actually a lot of armor, and you can get it early in the game, which is pretty good for lots of melee characters if you have the stamina to hold it or to wear it, because it's a pretty heavy item. Now again, we're going to use a couple humanities here to reinforce or to reverse hollow and kindle this bonfire, because this zone can be kind of tough. All of the enemies are little crystal guys that hit pretty hard. Plus, there's several channelers in here. And the last time we saw a channeler, I believe, was in right before the gargoyles, and they can hit pretty hard as well. So once we get up on top of this elevator, we're going to kind of use this little elevator room to our advantage and try to single pull the enemies in, because there's going to be an archer shooting at us with several melees, as well as the channeler, who sometimes can even get his magic shots all the way down here. So we just step out, step back in, and then wait for these guys to come in, block their hits with the shield, and then take them out with our swords. Take several hits. They've got decent armor as well. There should be one more up here on the right. Yep, we're going to try and pull him back before we take out the archer. Once we go up and try to take on the archer, we're going to pull several more of them automatically, I'm pretty sure. So, you know, I think this might be one of the hardest parts of this level, is just getting into the place. You just need to take your time and single pull. Yep, pull too many of them, you get butt fucked. Homing Soul Mass and Homing Crystal Soul Mass, which we get later, are really effective in this area. Just because, you know, being that there's so many enemies, it's always nice that they're going to auto-attack one so that you don't have to necessarily be concerned with them. This room has several of them, as well as that channeler shooting at us. And this channeler's a lot stronger than the ones that we would have faced earlier. Their spells hit really hard, and if they melee you, they can hit you for like 75% of your health. Plus, these guys teleport, so if they start to take some damage, you just teleport away, which is really annoying because they'll, you know, teleport right to the middle of 2 or 3 damn archers. So this area is just tough. Now he's just taunting you with his fucking dance too, which buffs everybody that's nearby, but just makes it even worse. I'm pretty sure later in this level you can get the channeler armor, that I know, but if you get their staff, which is a random drop, if you use that R2 move, you'll do their dance, and I think that it still buffs you and your allies, so it's kind of a cool item to pick up. Now what I try to do normally is take out all the guys around the perimeter of the room and then come into the middle to try to take him out. And there was soul arrows or soul spears. He was a lot easier than he would be had I gone in melee range to attack him. Up top there's going to be a couple more archers, but nothing should really be a problem up here. There's going to be a mimic treasure chest that we'll take out that's got, I don't know what's in it, actually. We'll find out. If you haven't been following, the Twinkling Titanites are used to upgrade special armor and special weapons, namely ones that have a special name, so it's not a short sword, but all of the armor that I'm wearing right now requires Twinkling Titanites to upgrade, and I've been doing that over time because these pieces, the red and the gold, are what I have decided that will be my end game gear. Now here's the Mimic chest. Now these guys can lay a pretty hefty ass beating on you. So you really want to block their attacks, because they can hurt. There you go, Crystal Knight Shield. Any of the crystal gear in this game, whether it be the shield or a crystal sword or crystal, I think there might be an axe as well. It all does a lot of damage, but it has very low durability, and it cannot be repaired unless you have, I think maybe there's an item that you can have, a usable item that can repair it, and I think that there's a sorcery spell that can repair those items as well, but you can't go to a blacksmith to repair them. You may have also just seen me switch my ring out, and I got rid of the Chloranthy ring, which gives stamina regen, in favor of a Ring of Sacrifice. You could also use the rare Ring of Sacrifice, because up ahead is a portion of the game where you have to die. It's uncontrollable. We're gonna run into a room with Seath the Scaleless, and he's gonna kill us because you can't fight him back here. And I don't want to lose my souls and my humanity, so I put the ring on. And I recommend you do the same. This knight here is not that difficult. He's a bit stronger than the rest of the crystal enemies in this area, and he does not respawn, so that's all there was there. There's also one of those little twinkling dudes up here that you'll want to be ready for as you climb these stairs so that you can hack him, because he disappears pretty quickly. And he gives you 2 Twinkling Titanites and a blue chunk, or blue Titanite. And up here is Seath the Scaleless. Now this guy has a breath attack that can actually curse you. So when you fight him the second time, you're going to want to make sure you're wearing lots of curse armor, curse resist gear. There's a ring that you can pick up in the catacombs, and there's also a set of armor in this zone that I straight recommend using, because getting cursed is a bitch. Luckily, they no longer stack. Earlier in the game, before they patched it, you could get cursed, and it could stack up to like 8 times, each time reducing your health permanently by 50%. Now, when you die, you're going to be put into a prison cell with a bunch of other prisoners and enemies. And this is where this level starts to get interesting. So we're actually going to end this video here, because the next portion of the Duke's Archives is relatively long, as there's lots of stuff going on here. So we'll see you in the next video.